Charles Lindbergh was born on February 4, 1902, in Detroit, Michigan. He grew up in a time when airplanes were new, and many people were excited about the idea of flying. His father was a U.S. congressman, and his mother was a teacher. From a young age, Lindbergh had an interest in machines, and this interest would eventually lead him to become one of the most famous pilots in history. As a child, Charles was very curious about how things worked. He enjoyed taking apart mechanical objects and putting them back together. He was not only interested in machines but also in animals and the outdoors. However, his passion for flying would be what would make him a legend. Lindbergh's love for aviation began in his teenage years. After finishing high school, he decided to become a pilot. In 1922, at the age of 20, he joined the Army Air Service and received his flying training. He learned how to fly in the basic training school, where he became very skilled at handling aircraft. However, this was just the beginning of his flying career. After his time in the military, Lindbergh worked as a barnstormer. Barnstorming was a type of flying show where pilots performed tricks and gave people airplane rides for money. This helped Lindbergh improve his flying skills and get more experience in the air. He flew across the United States, and it was during this time that he began to dream of accomplishing something even greater. One of the biggest challenges in aviation at the time was flying long distances. Most airplanes could not travel very far without needing to stop for fuel or repairs. Lindbergh saw an opportunity to make history. In 1927, he decided to try something no one had ever done before: fly nonstop from New York to Paris. This flight would be the first solo transatlantic flight, a journey that had never been attempted before. To make this dream come true, Lindbergh needed a special airplane. He chose a custom-built plane called the Spirit of St. Louis. It was a monoplane, meaning it had only one set of wings, and it was designed to carry just Lindbergh and enough fuel for the long flight. The plane did not have a front window, so Lindbergh had to look out through a small side window while flying. The design of the plane was simple but practical for the dangerous journey ahead. The flight from New York to Paris would cover about 3,600 miles over the Atlantic Ocean. Lindbergh knew it would be a difficult and dangerous task. He had to fly without stopping for fuel, and the weather could be unpredictable. On May 20, 1927, at 7:52 a.m., Lindbergh took off from Roosevelt Field in New York. The journey was long and grueling, with Lindbergh flying for over 33 hours straight. He had to keep his focus, as the flight was difficult, and he had to deal with exhaustion, bad weather, and mechanical problems. But he was determined to succeed. After many hours in the air, Lindbergh finally saw the lights of Paris below him. At 10:22 p.m. on May 21, 1927, he landed safely at Le Bourget Field, just outside of Paris. He had made history by completing the first solo non-stop transatlantic flight. The people of Paris, and many others around the world, celebrated his success. Charles Lindbergh became an international hero, and his achievement was seen as a huge step forward in the world of aviation. Lindbergh's flight also changed the way people viewed airplanes. Before this, most people thought flying was too dangerous and that long-distance flights were impossible. After Lindbergh's success, many believed that airplanes could be used for regular travel, both across the country and across the world. Following his famous flight, Lindbergh received many awards and honors. He was welcomed by crowds everywhere he went, and people praised his courage and skill. However, he did not seek fame for himself. Instead, he used his newfound popularity to help promote the development of aviation. He also worked with the U.S. government and military, giving advice on aviation safety and technology. In the years that followed, Lindbergh continued to push the boundaries of aviation. In 1930, he made a number of successful flights across the United States, and in 1931, he flew from the United States to Mexico and back. His interest in aviation technology led him to develop new ideas for improving airplanes, including designs for more efficient engines. However, Lindbergh's work in aviation was not limited to flying. He also took an interest in environmental conservation and the preservation of nature. In the 1930s, Lindbergh became a strong advocate for the protection of wildlife, and he worked to raise awareness about the importance of preserving the natural world. In addition to his work in aviation and conservation, Lindbergh was also involved in several international efforts to promote peace. During the years leading up to World War II, Lindbergh became involved in political issues, particularly regarding the United States' involvement in the conflict. He was a strong voice for non-intervention and spoke out against U.S. involvement in the war. His views were controversial, and he faced criticism from many people for his stance. Despite the controversy, Lindbergh remained committed to his beliefs. Throughout his life, he continued to pursue his passions for flying, technology, and nature. His work in these fields has left a lasting legacy. Even after his passing, Lindbergh's impact on aviation and environmental conservation continues to be felt today. Charles Lindbergh passed away on August 26, 1974, at the age of 72. His contributions to aviation, science, and environmental conservation have made him one of the most important figures in the history of modern flight. He is remembered not only for his groundbreaking flight across the Atlantic, but also for his dedication to improving the world through technology and his commitment to the preservation of nature. Today, Lindbergh's story is remembered as an example of courage, perseverance, and vision. His flight proved that anything was possible if one had the skill and determination to make it happen. Lindbergh's legacy lives on in the world of aviation and beyond, inspiring future generations to follow their dreams and push the boundaries of what is possible.